Hello guys, how are you doing? Perfect. Another problem. The only thing this problem, find x and y distances for equilibrium. Uh, but we know this value here of this force is 1000, and we know the value for this force here is 800 newtons. And the only thing the problem is not telling you is that these are frictionless pulleys, but they have to be frictionless pulleys because otherwise we need extra information like friction coefficient. We need the diameter or radius of the pulley. So for this type of problems in 2D equilibrium, this has to be, otherwise the number of unknowns is going to be extremely big. So if this is a frictionless pulley, we know that this tension and this tension are going to be the same. That means if this tension is 800, this tension is also going to be 800. Now if we do a free body diagram of that particle over there, we will have 1000 in this direction, and because this force is 800, then this tension here is also 800, and this tension here is 800 as well. So this is going to be 800, and this is going to be 800. And we don't know the angles here. But look what happened. Let's say that you don't realize that this is happening here. But let's say that you don't realize this, and you say, okay, so I don't know how much is this angle. Let's call them alpha and beta, assuming that you don't know what is happening. But for symmetry, you should know already that these two angles are the same. But let's say that you don't know that. So you just put different angles here, and then you can calculate that summation of forces in y equals 0. This will be t sine alpha, this component, and this component will be t sine beta equals 0. So if I simplify this equation by dividing by t, this and this cancel out, this and this cancel out, and this is still 0. So sine alpha has to be equal to sine beta, meaning alpha equal beta. But you could have seen that just by inspecting this. So let's call this alpha and alpha. What else do we need to know here? Well, we can do summation of forces in x now if I want to. I know already one of the components, by the way, because if this is alpha, you can say tangent alpha is y divided by x. So if I say tangent of this other alpha has to be 2 divided by x, meaning this y and these two are the same. It has to be the same. So I can put it here if I want to, y equals 2, just because of geometry. And we already know this one, so we need to find x. How do we find x? By doing summation of forces in x equals 0. So if we do summation of forces in x equals 0, what do we get? We get that t, let's call this t, which is 800. The horizontal component of this is going in this direction. So that will be t, which is 800 cosine alpha, negative. And this other component will be 800 also cosine alpha, plus 1000 equals 0. Basically, if I group cosine alpha here, cosine alpha will be, I'm going to pass this, I'm going to group this like 1600, and I'm going to pass it to the other side. Has to be equal to 1000, or cosine alpha has to be 1000 divided by 1600, which means alpha will be 1000 divided by 1600. Cosine inverse of this answer will be 51.32 degrees. 51.32 degrees. That's the angle alpha, and we know the tangent alpha will be 2 divided by x by geometry, or x equals 2 divided by tangent alpha, which means x will be 2 divided by tangent of the angle that we just got, 1.601 meters. So what is the answer for this problem? X equals 1.601 meters and y equals 2 meters. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Done. Thank you for watching, guys. Let's work another problem now after this one.